Welcome to the That's Based Midweek check-in episode. I'm your unlawfully wedded host, as always, Caleb Salvatore, where we are laughing our way through the end of days, and we're brought to you by Outlaw Streamers, where you can go to www.outlawstreamers.com to learn more. We're on Rumble, Spotify, Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, and iHeartRadio. Follow my socials, Caleb Isn't Funny on Twitter and Instagram, Caleb Salvatore Comedy on TikTok, and of course, YouTube and Rumble is at Caleb Salvatore. It is Saturday morning. You know what? That's a lie. I'm not going to lie to my audience. I'm going to be more honest with you than any of the other media you consume. It's not Saturday morning. It's Saturday afternoon. I wanted to make myself sound like less of a scumbag. I slept in. I was out late. I wasn't partying. It was a gig. I was exhausted. I didn't get home till like 3 in the morning. So I slept in, okay? Shoot me. Sue me. Put me in prison. I've been following the NFL draft. I want to start this off. I need to address some rumors, though. I got to address some rumors. I have accepted the full-time hosting position to replace Jerry Springer. Now, this will not interfere with this show. You're still going to get your 2 episodes a week. We'll be good, okay? But I've accepted the job to replace Jerry Springer. I'm still going to be doing stand-up on top of it, and I will still be filling in for Don Lemon on CNN on Tuesdays. But I got a wedding coming up, and those are expensive. So I need as much work as I can get right now. And it turns out that, like, no matter how much I pay for and no matter how much I'm like, okay, this is the final check I'm going to have to sign, this is the final thing I had to pay for, another expense pops up. So I just got to keep taking shows. I'm going to be working 24/7. I may be like an 85-year-old man by the time this wedding rolls around. But I'm taking the Jerry Springer job. No, I'm kidding, obviously. I think Jerry Springer had like a show in 2022 that got canceled. I was looking it up before I did this, so I didn't sound like a complete fool. It was a Judge Judy-esque type show that kind of fell on its face, you know. But I mean, he was like 90. What did you expect? Rest in peace, by the way. The man revolutionized what you see. I mean, this show, a lot of other shows don't exist without Jerry Springer. He changed the game for TV, for radio, and everything you see right now. It's like when you look at Elvis kind of paved the way for Papa Roach. That's hard to believe that Elvis Presley somehow played into Last Resort, but Elvis Presley made Papa Roach possible the same way that Jerry Springer made That's Based with Caleb Salvatore possible, made the Joe Rogan Experience possible, and everything else you hear on outlawstreamers.com and everywhere else, really. So you got to give him credit. He revolutionized the game. Talk shows are edgy because of him. And they're more fun to listen to. You don't want to listen to me drone on. This isn't Preacher Hour. You know what I mean? Like, you want some fun stuff. You want me to push the boundaries. You want to go, ooh, he shouldn't have said that, but, you know, he's got a point. That's why we love it. So this week, for a midweek check-in, we're going to start it off. We got some corruption going on in my hometown of Omaha, Nebraska. Now, let me give you a little history lesson. You hear Omaha, Nebraska, and a lot of people out there probably think Cowtown. We're not. Our metro area has over 1 million people. We're a fairly decent-sized city. We've got all the problems that big cities have, like crime and taxes and you name it, and homelessness and whatever, right? We've got all the same problems that L.A. and San Francisco and New York and Atlanta have, but not to the same degree, but we do have those issues here. We are also historically, and I'm not naming any names that haven't already been taken away. Remember, this is all alleged. These people haven't been convicted of anything yet. That's important to remember. Historically, we are one of the most corrupt cities in the history of this country. Dating back to, I mean, what, the 1920s, it's got to be. Maybe even more. Did you guys know, and you can look this up for yourselves. You guys can look this up for yourselves. The mayor of Omaha, who served for 23 years, like 5 consecutive terms, between, when was it, 19, oh no, they weren't consecutive, they were split up. Between 1906 and 1930, Cowboy Jim Dahlman, he was elected mayor. He was known as the perpetual mayor. He was actually a fugitive fleeing murder charges in Texas. That was the mayor. That was the mayor of Omaha for close to 30 years. We've had a lot of problems with corruption throughout this city. I mean, there's an individual, and this hasn't been confirmed yet. He hasn't been arrested. We had an individual who ran for Douglas County Sheriff here in Omaha, which is the Omaha and surrounding areas. And there was a lot of questions about some ties he may have had to the drug cartels. This guy wanted to be sheriff, the head sheriff in Omaha, Nebraska. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? I mean, he was close, too. He was the Democratic nominee for being sheriff here in Omaha. Now, if you look back into Omaha's corruption, if you look up the name, I'm not going to do a history lesson. This is not a history podcast. This is a current events podcast. That would go against the very nature of what we do here. If you look up people, Cowboy Jim Dahlman, Tom Dennison, the Omaha race riots, if you look into those things, you will see just how corrupt this city's been. I mean, it's obviously not as bad now, but there's a lot of issues when you look at Omaha. Omaha has had its fair share of skeletons in the closet. So we've got a couple items here locally. First up, this was national news. You guys remember Jean Stothert, the mayor. Say what you want about her, whatever. I don't even live in Omaha anymore. I'm in the outskirts. I'm in La Vista. Jean Stothert, the mayor, she was out of town. I know, insert joke here. And her acting mayor, Vinny Palermo, who was a city councilman, was arrested. His house was raided by the FBI. You know, and so someone else had to fly back into town to come in. Another councilman had to fly into town while he was also on vacation to come in and fill in as acting mayor. So Vinny Palermo, the city councilman, they're calling him the Al Capone of South Omaha, which is where my mom and my fiance are straight out of South O, baby. My mom, my grandma, my fiance, I got a lot of ties to South O, and I guess I spent a lot of time there when I was a kid. Vinny Palermo, he is, soon to be former city councilman, former acting mayor. He was arrested on corruption charges. Failure to file tax returns was also put on top of that. Now, Vinny Palermo, listen to me. Vinny Palermo is innocent until proven guilty. That is what is important to remember. It is important to remember that Vinny Palermo, above all else, is innocent until proven guilty. But he is an Italian in politics, so he's probably guilty. And I'm saying this as a fellow Italian. He probably did it. If you need further, this is anecdotal. This isn't proof of anything, obviously. His cover photo, you know, the picture on your Facebook that's behind your profile picture when you click on it, his cover photo on Facebook was a quote from John Gotti. That's right, the late mob boss John Gotti, portrayed by John Travolta in an absolutely terrible movie, mind you. Said, everybody's a gangster until a gangster walks in the room. You know, when I did concealed carry training, you know, back when we used to have to do that. Thank God that law's passed now, you know. When I did concealed carry training, one of the things they told us was don't put Punisher skulls all over your gun. Don't wear those passive-aggressive T-shirts or put those signs on your wall. You know the T-shirts and signs I'm talking about. You know, don't have a bunch of Facebook posts about how you know, Dirty Harry style, make my day, I can't wait to use my gun in a self-defense thing, because that will be used against you in court. It won't be used as evidence, and in all honesty, if it truly was self-defense, you'll probably walk, but you really don't want to get tossed into a nasty legal battle, especially with a liberal prosecutor that just wants to put gun owners away and arrest you for defending yourself, because that's what we do in this country because we're in a controlled demolition. But I digress. What they told us was just be careful what you put on social media because it can be used against you to portray your character, not necessarily as evidence, but to portray your character in a court of law. So just don't do it. Just don't do it. Maybe if you're committing crimes, especially as an acting city councilman, an elected official. He was also arrested with several other former Omaha police officers as well. But if you're committing crimes, corruption, as an acting city councilman, maybe don't put mob boss quotes on your Facebook for everyone to see. That might be a good idea. That might just be a good idea. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not giving Mr. Palermo any advice. I would love to represent him. Your Honor, my client's probably guilty because he's an Italian. So just lock him up. We'll plead guilty and get this done with. Yeah, so him, so Vinny Palermo, along with retired police captain Rich Gonzalez, not Greg Gonzalez, Rich Gonzalez. It's important to differentiate. Former Omaha police officer Johnny Palermo and fundraiser Jack Olson face multiple charges of wire fraud, conspiracy, and abuse of public trust. They're accused of in an alleged scheme of spending money raised for the Latino Peace Officers Association. Yeah, so charity fraud, basically. Stand-up guy. Stand-up guy. You want to know? Fun fact. There's one other guy. If you search Vinny Palermo on Google, there's one other guy that pops up. And he's got a Wikipedia page. He was important. You want to know who he was? He was a mob boss. Well, he's still alive, but he was a mob boss. Not only was he a mob boss, they based the character Tony Soprano off of him, so he's in good company for the actions that he's allegedly doing. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. So, this is ridiculous. So that wasn't the only thing that came out about corruption in our great city of Omaha here. This is from a state senator, Megan Hunt. You've probably heard about her. She's the one that was grandstanding with her kid that, is recently as January of 2023 was referred to as her daughter. His kid's like 10 years old or younger, was referred to as her daughter. And then all of a sudden when this anti-mutilation of children bill popped up in the legislature, that daughter became a son. It's crazy how that worked. I know. We're not going to speculate on people's kids. I would float that out there. It's never people in the center or people on the right or even like moderate lefties that have quote unquote trans kids. It's always the whack jobs. I wonder why that is. Regardless, that's not what we're talking about. She came to the news. She got brought to attention. Due to some corruption allegations as well. She was using her Instagram account to panhandle for money. Let me find the post here. You're like, Caleb, you should be more prepared. It's Saturday. I had a long night. Relax. She was using her Instagram to solicit donations. Here we go. So she shared this. With the caption, generous and cringed at repost, but true. Thanks at so-and-so. A lot of folks have been asking me how at 402 Meg is doing, considering the long hours at the legislature and what they can do to support her and our other amazing senators. While I can't really speak for what they need, I do know and see how demanding being a Democratic senator in Nebraska is. I also know that the long hours keep them away from their paying jobs and families. Well, in reality, her business that just repeatedly fails and her rich parents bail out, but I digress. So, if you're wondering how to support Megan, I suggest sending money that can be spent on rent, take out meals on her way home, someone to clean her home, etc. A freaking massage. Not to her campaign account, but to her directly. Just Venmo or Cash App. That's what will help. Now, the Nebraska legislature, she shared this. The Nebraska legislature straight up says you cannot, the rules in the Nebraska legislature straight up say you cannot use your position as a senator, a state senator, to solicit financial gain, whether it's through donations or whatever else. You can't do that. And she's using her account. She's not saying, hey, send me some money. Come shop at my business. This is my personal or professional profile or whatever. Come shop at my business. She's straight up saying, I'm a senator. Life is hard because I'm a senator. Please send me money so I can hire a maid and get a massage. Because what would we do if we all couldn't hire maids? I mean, that's basic needs, right? Rent, food, maids. How did it jump to maids? Because we all have maids, right? We all just have a woman or man, relax, it's not a woman's job necessarily, that comes in and just cleans the house for us, right? That's a normal middle-class expense. How could we not, how could we deprive someone of a maid? That's inhumane what we're doing to Megan Hunt. We should absolutely donate money to her. We have deprived her of the basic human right to housekeeping. How dare we? To massages. I'll tell you what, maybe she's got late hours in the legislature and can't get to a normal massage clinic, but I used to live in a pretty shady part of town, and there was a Chinese massage clinic that was open till 4 in the morning. It was in the corner of a strip mall, and all the blinds and curtains were closed. Maybe she could go to that one. When she's getting back late, she could just go hit that one up. She doesn't have to go to Massage Envy or the mall or anything like that. All it said was a massage. If she really needs a massage in the late hours or messing with her too much, I'm sure that place could give her the elected official's discount. I'm sure she wouldn't be the first elected official to go into that place. Oh, my goodness. I've had, I remember I was young and stupid, and my back was really hurting me because I played a lot of basketball when I was younger. And my back was really bugging me, so I went to this massage parlor. And I just wanted somewhere that could get me in that day. And I went, and it was an Asian massage parlor, and I'm not going to tell you where it is because I don't want to get sued or have these people try to have me professionally killed. But I went to this massage parlor, and it was an Asian one, and I didn't know. I had gotten a massage a couple times in my life, but I was Hail Mary time. Like, let's figure this out, So I went to this Asian massage parlor, and lady comes in, and she's like, get undressed or whatever. The one massage I'd have, I kept my shorts on. But no, she came in and told me they had to come off. She came back in and told me shorts had to come off. I'm like, uh-oh, this isn't right. That, and the fact that the whole room smelled like sex the second I walked in. I think I was 20, 21 maybe. I don't know. And so massage starts, whatever. This woman solicited me not once, not twice, but 3 times. And I was shocked. You know what I mean? I was shocked. Obviously I turned her down. First off, I was like 21, 22 years old. I was in good shape. I was playing basketball every day. I was working out. I was in solid shape, right? This is like some 60-year-old woman. First off, she should be paying me if she wants to have sex with me. That was my mindset. I was offended that she thought that I was going to pay her. You know what I mean? That was not that I had just been mistaken for someone soliciting a prostitute. No. My biggest of the most offensive thing to me was that she thought I was going to pay her for it. And I was very uncomfortable. Obviously nothing happened. I tipped her like $5 and bounced, and I was like, got on the phone with my friend. I'm like, you're never going to guess what just happened. And then he went down the next day. No, I'm kidding. Comedy show. It's a joke, right? I don't even know if you could call this a comedy show because we get serious. We talk about serious issues, and then we joke. So I don't even know what you could call this. And that's why it does so well. That's why it defies all common logic about shows, because it really doesn't fit into a box. And I think that's why we've been so successful here and why you should share it around. All right. What else do we got for the topics here? I should probably go rapid fire. We don't want to go too long. Donald Trump and Joe Biden are both refusing to debate in their party's political primaries. Now, there's different reasons, and I have different takes here. I think Donald Trump, it would work to his advantage to debate. Donald Trump, all things considered, you may not like him, you may not agree with his style, but that man, he's been a reality TV star for how long? And negotiated real estate deals for even longer. The man can control a stage. I like DeSantis. I like Chris Sununu. I like Larry Elder and people like that. I don't dislike these guys. But at the same time, Donald Trump's going to push them around. The attention's going to be drawn to him. He will run away with it. I think what he thinks right now, I think Trump's mindset is that he's so far away, he's so far ahead of the rest of the crowd, it wouldn't do him any favors to debate them, right? At least in the Republican primary. I think that's his mindset. And I think now it makes a lot more sense than it would have a month ago. DeSantis has had kind of a downward slide, so I think it makes a lot more sense now than if he would have made this decision like a month or two ago. With that said, I don't think Joe Biden has the same reasoning. I think Joe Biden sees Robert F. Kennedy and sees what a threat he would be to him and knows, again, Kennedy's not going to win. Get that out of your head. But Joe Biden knows that Kennedy's going to expose, and not Joe Biden, Joe Biden's handlers know that RFK is going to expose a whole bunch of stuff about the goings-on of the deep state, about the goings-on of the regime and the Democratic Party and the Biden crime family. He's going to blow the top off of it, and he does not want to take that risk. He does not want to get exposed on a national scale like that. It would look really, really bad. Two totally different reasons to not debate. I think Trump, honestly, really, what does he have to gain from debating? From debating DeSantis, from debating, Nikki Haley, Mike Pence. What does he have to gain? Really? There's no people know what they're getting with Donald Trump. If anything, it might actually be beneficial for him not to debate because people have Trump fatigue, for the last 4 years, because he was the most documented human being in the history of mankind. If you think about it, there is no human being whose life has been more documented than Donald Trump's was, specifically over the last 4 years. It's had more stuff dug into, more people looking into him than Donald Trump over the last 4 years. He really doesn't have any reason to. People know who he is. They know what they're getting. He really is the most famous human being not named Jesus Christ, who was the Son of God, so do we really count him? You know what I mean? He really is. And I'm not saying that's good or bad. That's just the reality of the situation. He's the most famous human being in history that wasn't the Son of God. He doesn't need to debate. You know who he is. Now, Joe Biden, yeah, he needs to go mop the floor with him. He needs to go mop the floor with Joe Biden in a national debate, for the general election, but not the primaries. Let those guys fight it out for scraps, for crumbs. Let them do it. Let them do it. Rapid fire here. We'll finish this last one up. A biolab in South Sudan was attacked by rebels because they're having an uprising there, which is not normal for Sudan and South Sudan because they're typically such stable countries. There's typically nothing. I mean, there's no bad goings-ons there. Excuse me, goings-ons, going on, whatever. There's nothing bad going on in South Sudan. It's stable. What are you talking about? So a biolab was attacked, and the biolab it was a research lab that contained many of the diseases that have been maybe not eradicated, but really, really shut down. Stuff like polio. It contained those viruses there. And it was attacked in South Sudan. And the big concern right now, and we talked about it a little bit on the big show on Saturday, the big concern right now is that those diseases could get back out and they could start infecting people again. And I'm just like, hello? Who would put a biolab with those types of viruses in South Sudan? Why would you put that there? What are you thinking? Why don't you give them a nuke while you're at it? What were you thinking? What did you think was going to happen? All right, well, we need to build this new lab where we're going to contain all the diseases that we've otherwise eradicated, and a lot of the population's not even vaccinated for anymore because it's not a problem. Where should we put this at? England? No. Tokyo? No. Where could this go? Texas? No. I know. South Sudan. Let's put it in Africa. In a conflict-stricken country. That's a great idea. Yeah, it should go there. That's a good place for it. Sounds like a plan. All right, let's wrap it up. You know why this stuff's down there, though? You know why they put these types of labs in these third world countries? You really want to know why? It's called outsourcing ethics. We've discussed it on the big show before. Outsourcing ethics. Dr. Fauci is, I'm not going to blame him because I don't have anything to prove that he's tied to this, but Dr. Fauci is infamous for outsourcing ethics. Outsourcing ethics means you take a procedure, typically a type of science experiment, that wouldn't otherwise be allowed here in the United States. You know, like putting puppies in cages and letting flies eat their faces off. That type of experiment. You know, what Dr. Fauci did where? Sudan! Oh, crazy, I know, right? Crazy. It's almost like Dr. Fauci is a scumbag and doesn't have our best interests in mind. It's crazy. I mean, we basically know that he helped fund, not him personally, but his NIH helped fund the Wuhan lab where COVID escaped from, right? Then we find out he's got all these shady dealings in Africa that he wouldn't be able to, he'd lose his license to practice medicine if he did them here. Guy's Dr. Mangala with puppies. Dr. Fauci Vic. He makes Michael Vick look humane. I shouldn't even say that. It's not even close. So we know he's got shady dealings in Africa. We know he's already responsible for one virus getting out of the lab. Why not make it 2? Or 3 or 4 or 5, 10, 20? Why not? Well, hey, Fauci, why don't you just drop a big old smallpox bomb on us? Let's do that. That'd be a great idea. At least finish the job. Your anti-human depopulation control freak nutcases have started. Go ahead. Why not? It's almost like Dr. Fauci is part of the controlled demolition. It's almost like these things are put there on purpose because they know they're going to these regions are unstable, and they know these things are going to pop off. And that way they can say, look, we didn't just release it on you. I mean, these crazy rebels took it over in Africa. It wasn't our fault. Well, yeah, it was. You put it there. You put it there. If I go to sleep in the middle of a highway, I mean, yeah, technically the guy should have swerved to kill me, or swerved to not kill me, but I shouldn't have laid down in the middle of the highway to go to sleep. That was my fault. I shouldn't have been there. You know, like if I walk down an alley where there's a guy sitting there with a sign that says, I'm going to mug you, and I walk down it anyway, and then he mugs me, that's my fault. I shouldn't have walked down the alley. I saw him standing there. That was a Dr. Phil. Dr. Philism, that was almost. If you can't go to sleep on a highway, maybe I'll take his job too. Could you imagine Dr. Caleb? That would be great. That would be a great show, man. I would do a mix of Dr. Phil and Jerry Springer. It would be a mix because like we'd bring these people out and we'd counsel them, and then I'm probably going to end up throwing down with somebody because the amount of patience that you can say whatever you want about Dr. Phil. I think his show's hilarious. I watch it. It's a guilty pleasure. I know I'm like a 75-year-old woman. When my fiance's not home, I watch Dr. Phil. That's what I watch. It's like it's not I don't feel bad enough about it like I would watching Maury or Steve Wilkos or Jerry Springer. It's classy enough to where I don't feel like I'm watching daytime trash television, but it's entertaining and enough of a train wreck that I can still look at. It's that car wreck that you'll glance over at it every now and then. It's not like 3 cars are on fire and flipped upside down, but it's a little nasty and you want to look and see what's going on over there. That kind of car accident. That's Dr. Phil to me. I'm going to tell you right now, that guy has got more patience than anyone else on this earth to put up with some of the people he deals with on that show. Some of that crap. Oh my goodness. I would come to blows with half of his guests. Absolutely, in a heartbeat, I would come to blows with the guest. Could you imagine a red-pilled Dr. Phil? That would be me. That would be me. You bring your non-binary kid on there, I'm going to tell him he's out of his mind. He's delusional. He's lying to himself. Or she. It's usually a she, isn't it? Anyway, that has been our midweek check-in. You can catch me on the Jerry Springer Show. No, I'm kidding. Like I said, man, funding a wedding is expensive, and I'm not going to pay for it with the millions I'm going to be raking in from the Jerry Springer Show. That'll be to pay for the reception. If you want to help pay for the wedding, you can go to the now working, I've tested it. We have 2 domains. Two. I paid for 2 like an idiot. CalebSalvatore.com, CalebSalvatoreComedy.com. They will both lead you to the same destination. You click on merch. You can help me pay for the wedding without taking on another trash television or trash daytime television job. You can go on there, you can buy my merch, and you can help me pay for this wedding. We make it all in-house. It's all quality stuff. It's dishwasher, washing machine tested. If you buy a shirt, the only thing I'll say, when you throw it in the wash, just turn it inside out. Super easy. Super easy. It'll be fine. You can go on there. Again, CalebSalvatoreComedy.com, CalebSalvatore.com. Either one will get you to the same place. I guess I paid for twice, or for two, so I own both domains now. It's cool. It's cool. I own my name, my first and middle name. It's awesome. Anyway, I'm Caleb Salvatore here for OutlawStreamers.com. You can go to Rumble, Spotify, Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, and iHeartRadio. I am going to get singing lessons, and I'm going to crush that note one of these days. I'm actually going to pay for singing lessons. I think I'm going to do it. You can follow my socials at Caleb Isn't Funny on Twitter and Instagram, Caleb Salvatore Comedy on TikTok, Caleb Salvatore on YouTube, and Rumble. Big show episodes drop 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. Video on Rumble, audio obviously on Spotify, Apple, Spreaker, and iHeartRadio. Midweek check-ins every Wednesday. Thank you guys so much for listening. Cheat on your taxes, not your spouse. Peace out and stay based.